So for this combination practice, we're going to put together our seated formal sitting meditation. And at the end, we're going to transition into a few standing yoga postures. But to begin, let's start in a comfortable seated position. And this could be in your chair, could be on a cushion, on the floor. Whatever works best and what's calling for you in this meditation. So remain upright, attentive, dignified, and aware. But be careful not to drift into tense and leaning into the practice. We're looking for that balance right between attentive and relaxed. And begin just with the idea of noting sitting and knowing that we're sitting. Knowing where we are right now. This may seem so obvious, but sometimes just taking the time to address it is important. What are we sitting on? Where are we? When is it? The details of this moment. I'm just briefly checking in with our body. Let's look at our points of contact. If you're sitting in the chair, look at our feet making contact with the floor. If we're sitting on the floor, where are the bottoms of our legs making contact with the ground beneath us? Like always just looking for detail. Differences between the right side and the left side. Feelings of tension, relaxation, numbing, tingling, warmth, air moving across our skin. And not forgetting about the spaces between, the spaces that aren't making contact with the floor. So maybe on our foot, the bridge of our foot, the spaces between our toes. Where are our hands? Where are our hands placed right now? Did we put them there consciously? Is that just where they go? Notice the position. Our palms down, palms up, interlaced fingers. Did we rest them on our legs, on the floor? Just take a moment to recognize, just paying attention. And then just the general feeling, the tone of our body and our mood right now. Big picture. Are we feeling relaxed? Are we feeling anxious, rushed? Is there a tone of happy, sad, disappointed? anticipation, just what's here right now. Now just bringing our focus and our attention inward. Finding our breath in our body. Just for a little bit letting go of all the external attention. Moving away from our body and the emotions, just placing our attention directly on the breath. Finding where you feel it the most. Stepping back and observing the inhales and the exhales, the rising and falling, the arrival and the passing. Just observing and appreciating the momentary, temporary presence of each breath. It arrives and it's here, and then it's gone. And while the next one may be similar, it's not the same breath. The only breath that truly exists is the present breath. This breath. And as the breaths come and go, so do our thoughts and our emotions, physical sensations, comforts and discomforts. And as we sit, just observing, watching them pass. Knowing that only our attention can give them strength. There's an inevitable nature to their arising, to their appearing, to the pull on our attention. But when we're aware, we have the choice to engage, the choice to fuel, or the choice to acknowledge and let pass. We can find happiness and comfort in being in control, in the strength of being able to place our awareness where we want it, when we want it, and being able to maintain that attention and that focus. And beginning to feel and recognize that that attention and focus is not so much an action as it is a release of the distractions, a willingness to let go of that which is pulling us away. Remembering that we have a breath as an anchor, as a beacon, as a place to return when we find that we've wandered. Knowing and remembering the wandering is part of the process. Being careful not to place judgment, feel frustrated or get angry. Remembering that it's part of the process, an inevitable part of the process that we all experience. Taking that position of a curious observer, just asking ourselves, what's here right now? But asking and being willing to hear the answer, to observe the answer, the actuality of the moment. Maybe noticing a tendency to embellish, make things better or worse, more or less unpleasant or pleasant. What's here right now? It may be a feeling in your body, an emotion, a thought, something from our to-do list, a tingling in our finger, an emotion that's carried over from a conversation, anticipation of an upcoming conversation. But recognize it, label it for what it is, and let it pass. And then ask yourself again, what's here now? Checking in maybe with some changes, maybe changes that have arisen through the practice at this point, in the way that our general feeling may have shifted, our level of comfort or discomfort. And acknowledging that no change, seeing no difference, is as equally valuable as recognizing a change. It's the observation itself that matters. There is no right or wrong shift. Continuing as the thoughts continue to arrive. Just re-anchoring in our breath. Remaining very much in our practice in this sit, we're going to begin the transition from a seated position to a standing upright position in our mountain pose. But do so over the next few breaths, or the next minute or two, taking your time and observing the transition itself. How do we move our legs, shift our weight, brace ourselves, pull? What techniques does our body implement to move from one position to the next? Standing with our feet directly underneath our hips, arms, hands hanging down to the side, chin upright and neutral, but not pushed out in front of us. Just really feeling the weight beneath our feet, the pressure on the different parts of our foot. The balls of our feet and our heel, the ends of our toes. Just observing where we're placing most of the weight. The very fine-tuning and changing nature of that weight, as our body and our feet are constantly making these small micro adjustments to keep us balanced. Just scanning up and feeling through your ankles, to your knees, to your hips, up through your midsection and your chest, coming up into your shoulders and your head, And noticing if there's just a little space to relax, just a little bit more in our shoulders. Feeling them move a little bit further away from our ears as our fingers move a little closer to the floor. And checking to make sure there's no tension in our face. Relaxing around our eyes and our cheekbones and our jaw. And then with our arms straight, we're going to begin to raise them straight in front of us. Nice and slow, raising our arms up. And we're going to go until we're straight out. But feeling the movement, the different parts of the body that are involved in this movement, where the tension lies, where the strain lies, if there's any cracks and pops. And then from straight forward, we're going to continue the movement up until our arms are directly above our head, as far as is comfortably possible. Noticing the breath from this position as we're stretched out long. How, if at all, does the breath feel like it's moving differently through our body? And then letting our arms slowly return back to the ground, letting them fall down the same path that they rose, but really feeling the moment, feeling the movement itself. The fingers, the air moving between our fingers, the movement of blood through the arms, the working shoulders and upper back. And then really be present for the moment when we reach the bottom. Our body's not working so hard to fight gravity, and we can relax. And again, raising up, nice and slowly, but this time not pausing in the middle, just going all the way above head. Observing the other parts of our body as well. How do our legs and feet adjust to this movement? Our lower back, our face, and then again returning slowly, present, observing. At the bottom, just checking in before the next movement. How does the body feel right now? What parts of our body are calling to us right now? Where does our attention go when we say what's with the body? Now we're going to raise our arms up to the side, coming out and making a T with our arms. Feeling the movement. And then once up to the side, pointing our fingers up towards the ceiling or the sky above us, with our palms facing away as if we're holding up two collapsing walls coming down from the side of us. And then pushing those palms away from our center, feeling our palms move as far away from each other as possible. we're really trying to keep those walls away from our center. Feeling the breath. And relaxing our hands and letting our arms slowly return back to the side. Feeling the air move through your fingers like it does when you run it through water. And then again at the bottom, just checking in. Now raising to the side just our right arm, letting it come up to that T position and then beyond, letting it raise up all the way up over our head. As much as we can, getting that right arm near our right ear. And just, if it's comfortable for our neck, bringing our gaze up slightly, looking at our right hand. Maybe focusing on the end of the middle finger. And then as if we're under a tree, reaching for an apple that's just out of reach, extending that right arm up just a little bit further. Feeling that stretch through the right hand side of our body. Feeling the weight shift in our feet, maybe our hips pushing to one side or the other to adjust. And watching the breath move through the torso from this position. Now releasing that reach a little bit, bringing our gaze back to neutral, and then down to the side, letting our arm fall all the way back down to the side of our body. Again, feeling the movement, being there for the end. Now from the left side, raising our left arm up to the side, and continuing past the T position all the way up overhead, bringing our left arm near our left ear. Slightly bringing that gaze up to the left hand. Just picking a finger, placing your gaze softly, and reaching for that apple, just out of our reach. Observing the body. How does it compensate? How does it maneuver to keep us upright? All without us telling it to. And then relaxing the reach, bringing our head back to neutral, and stepping back and observing the return of the arm to the side of our body. Keeping our arms at our side, we're going to shrug our shoulders up, bringing our shoulders towards our ears, and then letting them roll back and down and forward, and then back up, back, down, and forward. And now moving in the other direction. From the up, forward, down, and back, And again, up and forward, down and back. And then going up one more time, just holding up, feeling your muscles raise your shoulders up. And then just releasing, letting your shoulders completely relax and drop. Really taking the energy out of your arms and your upper back and your shoulders and letting your arms just hang. And dropping our chin down into our chest. And rolling our neck and our head to the right, bringing our right ear over to the right shoulder. And then back and to the left and down and to the right and back to the left and down, pausing in the down just for a moment. And now to the left and back and to the right and down, left, back, right, down. And bringing your head back up to neutral and just relaxing and feeling the body for a moment. Now placing our hands on our hips, we're going to push our right elbow back, looking over our right shoulder, and twisting and looking back behind us. Pushing to test, about where your limit is, but not too far. Feeling that stretch through the mid-back, the lower back, our neck. Noticing the adjustment in our feet, the shifting of weight. And then releasing back to center. And now moving to the left, pushing our left elbow back, looking over our left shoulder. Feeling the contrasting stretch in the opposite direction. Noticing maybe different ranges of motion between the two sides. Different feelings of relief or discomfort from one side to the next. And returning back to center. Continuing back over to the right hand side again. Twisting. Noticing now if maybe there's a different range of motion available to you. And back to center. Continuing to the left. Observing what's available to us here. And back to center. Letting your arms relax and fall back down to your side. Back into our upright mountain pose. And just taking a few breaths. Seeing what's most relevant, what's calling from the body right now. And then just placing your palms on the top of your thighs. And bending from the hip, slowly just letting your hands move down your legs. But only to a position that's comfortable for you, as our toes move closer to the floor. It might be an inch. It might be all the way to the floor. The distance covered is not the important aspect here. It's just an observation of how it feels in the body. How the flexibility available to us today may be different from day to day. Making sure not to put too much weight either on your heels or your toes, but noticing where the weight is and attempting to balance it across our foot. And then slowly unfolding and winding back up to the standing position. And sliding down one more time. Letting our hands just slide down the front of our legs. Let your head and your neck relax. Balance the weight on your feet. And slowly unwind, returning back to the upright position. And from this upright position, standing, grounded, just feel into the cumulative nature of the practice. How are we feeling? Acknowledging and offering your sense of gratitude, for giving yourself this time, for making this time available to yourself. And committing to move through the remainder of your day or night carrying the sense of control and awareness and presence that you've cultivated during this practice.